I get asked this question a lot. Why is confidence important in a relationship? And I have pondered over this myself. So here's something to think about. Do you long for more freedom, self-awareness, communication, commitment, and joy in your relationship? I'm going to share how courage is the padlock you need to unlock so that you can become more confident in your relationship. Recently, I read this quote by Jessie J, and it made me pause and reflect. I think the best way to have confidence is not to allow everyone else's insecurities to be your own. Being self-confident is when you trust in your abilities, qualities, and judgments. Having confidence in your relationship means you have faith in and can rely on your spouse. And our role as women is to become that self-confident woman first, who knows she is not who others see, the outward appearance, or what she weighs on the scale, but becoming that confident woman can only take place inwardly when our heart attitude is aligned after God, and when our appearance concerns focus on acquiring a weight of gold in our heart by trusting God over everything. Then you will find freedom when you believe more than the opinions of others or what the scale shows you. So making changes to both your feelings of insecurity or inadequacy is possible when you allow God to direct you in managing how you judge the outward appearance of other women in comparison to yourself. So I can relate to how my own self-confidence was continually affected by both these issues until I realized this. Why can't we as women bring these struggles to God? We can talk to God about everything, right? So why is wanting to be more confident in ourselves and in every area of our lives any different? Where do you draw your confidence from? Is it from looking at the outward appearance of other women? Too often we feel intimidated by other women because we measure ourselves to their beauty, their model figure, their career, marital status, and success. And the list can be endless. And how often can you relate to feeling intimidated by what you outwardly see on the feeds of women on social media? So join me in this session where we will be embarking on a confidence trail. My hope is that you will leave the session feeling comfortable in your own skin and acknowledge that your worth is far more than rubies, and not according to the standards set by others around you, but is founded in your God-given worth and identity beyond what you see in the mirror, because your value is in the precious lifeblood of Christ. Read 1 Peter 1 to find out more. Welcome, lovely woman of worth, to this video where I will be offering you a different perspective to not only find inspiration but discover that self-confidence to recognize your own worth and where you fit into the heart of God. So grab your favorite cup of tea or coffee and a notebook and get ready to write down your favorite takeaways as I invite you to aspire to be that woman who becomes so confident that her radiance spills into her relationship. But first, I'd like to introduce you to a woman I deeply admire and is one of my role models in the Bible, Esther. What a beautiful woman she was. History describes her with a capturing beauty. many admired and caused the king to love her more than any of the other women and make her his queen. She won the heart of two kings, a husband and her God. This video isn't about beauty or our struggles with diets or our outward appearances and what others see. It's about what you believe and trust more than anything, so that your confidence is evident in where your faith is founded. I too longed to look like Esther, believing that if I was beautiful or slim and attractive, I would be more confident. But here's the truth. Although the book of Esther talks about her beauty captivating an entire nation, it's her qualities, abilities, and judgments that move the hearts of two kings. Do you see yourself in this story? Believing that if you looked different, you would be more confident? But did you know that trying to be perfect or fit in does not measure your worth? I believe you are here because you are a woman in God's story. That is your choice. You can rise for such a time as this, increase your self-confidence, and in turn the confidence in your relationship will increase, and the impact you have on others around you. So how can you do that? What are these qualities, abilities, and judgments Esther displayed that left a remarkable mark on history and moved the heart of two kings? To be self-confident, I believe it was her innovative thinking, self-control, initiative, strategy, courage in a pose, and beauty, as well as her faith in God and the influence of a mentor and guardian, that all unlocked her boldness to become confident in herself, act with humility, obedience, and wisdom in her relationship with her husband, the king. As Rosbeth Moss Kanter said, confidence isn't optimism or pessimism, and it's not a character attribute. It's the expectation of a positive outcome. Try this simple exercise. Look at your reflection in the mirror. Stand straight, roll your shoulders back, chin up, deep breath, and smile. What does self-confidence mean to you? When does your lack of confidence show up? In what situations? Be specific and write down 3 examples. Now rate your confidence level on a scale of 1 to 10. Where would you like it to be? What would success look like in your relationship if you were more confident? What strengths or attributes do you need to develop to get to that point? What are your current mechanisms for coping? How can you enhance these? What are the barriers getting in the way of you feeling confident? Everyone's barriers look different, but do any of these examples resonate with you? Is your mindset keeping you stuck? Are you struggling with comparison? Are you struggling with imposter syndrome? Where you feel like you're not as good as you are and people will find out? Are you comparing other relationships to yours? Take a minute to identify your barriers so you can figure out what's getting in the way before you can fix it. So ask yourself, what am I telling myself about me. Some examples I often hear is, why would they love me? I'm not good enough, so why are they with me? I don't look different than when we first met, so why would they stay with me? Identify and write out the narrative you telling yourself. Writing these out forces you to connect with them on another level. So it's a good chance that you can work through each of these. So just take some time and go through these questions now. Are you willing to work on your confidence? If you are ready to say yes, then I have 5 tips to help you improve confidence in your relationship. With the willingness to take action, they will work. So firstly, be accountable for yourself. Tell your spouse you need their help. Give them permission to call you out on your negative behavior. Because to change a behavior, we have to be aware of it first. Secondly, make a list of 10 positive things about yourself. Then ask your spouse to come up with another 10. If you are comfortable, ask a best friend or trusted family member for another 10. Thirdly, hold your head up high. If you are trying this for the first time, you might have to think about this more so in the beginning when you practice holding your head up high and walking down your runway with confidence. But over time, it will become second nature. So this includes wearing outfits that make you feel good, that fit you right, and you feel comfortable in. I found that if I don't wear clothes that make me feel good, then this actually hampers my confidence. Fourthly, say thank you the next time someone compliments you. Simply accept it with a thanks. That's it. Don't feel like you need to dismiss it with a nervous laugh or instantly compliment the other person back, or even give an explanation. Just fully accept it and let it be. Think of a compliment as a gift. When you don't accept the compliment, you are rejecting a gift. And lastly, work on your self-awareness. So be aware of how confidence shows up in all of these areas. So notice how it shows up in your emotions, in your relationship, your physical health, your social network with friendships, and in your career. This tip has to be the one you're intentional about. And you have to give yourself flexibility so that your confidence can grow in your friendships, with your work, and flow into different areas of your life. So now that you know how confidence affects you and how your partner sees you, think of these 3 questions as you start to take action on these 5 tips and kickstart change. So how are you supposed to be confident about something when you have nothing to feel confident about? Like, how am I supposed to be confident in my relationship when I've never been in a successful relationship before? So if you've never experienced much social acceptance and you lack confidence around new people, then that lack of confidence will make people think you're clingy and weird and not accept you. So this can be transferred to your relationship. And no confidence when you're dating can often lead to breakups and some awkward phone calls. So if you always lost in life, then how could you ever expect to be a winner? And if you never expect to be a winner, then you're going to act like a loser. So you will then find yourself in this never-ending cycle where in order to be happy or loved or successful, first you need to be confident. But to be confident, first you need to be happy or loved or successful. So it seems like you're stuck in one of these two loops. Either you're already in a happy and confident situation, or you feel like you're the loser, so you don't feel happy or loved. Well, it seems impossible to get out. Maybe you feel like you're going round in circles, trying to mentally sort everything out. But just like with your lack of confidence, you're likely to end up right back where you started. Just because another woman you admire has something you long for, so it could be loads of friends, a six-figure career, or a beach body, doesn't necessarily mean that she's confident in it. So there are successful women who totally lack confidence in their own wealth, models who lack confidence in their own looks, and celebrities who lack confidence in their own popularity. So confidence is not necessarily linked to our outward appearance or situation. Rather, our confidence is rooted in our perception of ourselves, regardless of our external reality. Which is why improving our external situation won't build our confidence indefinitely, because our confidence won't automatically improve just because we get a promotion at work and make us more confident in our professional abilities. Often it can make us feel less confident. So in the same way, being with the man of your dreams doesn't necessarily make you feel more confident about how attractive you are. Neither does getting married make you feel any more confident in your relationship. So confidence is what you feel. It's an emotional state and a state of mind. It's the perception that you lack nothing, that you are equipped with everything you need, both now and for the future. So a confident woman in her social life will feel as though she lacks nothing in her social life. On the contrary, a woman with no confidence in her social life believes that she lacks qualities to be invited to events and liked by others. So this is all a perception of lacking something that drives her to lose and choose needy, clingy, and perhaps sometimes dramatic behavior. I love Esther because she was a self-confident woman. She knew her identity in God and so was able to stand before her husband with confidence and make strategic requests. And how can you be more confident? The obvious and most frequent answer I usually give is to believe that you lack nothing, that you already have or at least deserve whatever you feel you would need to make you feel confident. But this sort of thinking, believing you're already beautiful even though no one ever told you that, can lead us to realize this doesn't work, and so we take a different approach. One, to make changes to our external appearance and try to improve that. So we read every magazine that we can about the top 100 things confident people could do, and then we try to implement these in your lives. I know I'm guilty of this. You start exercise, change the way you dress, try to improve your body language from your eye contact to how you walk. And this is taking a step above simply believing that you're already confident and that you don't belong in the lack of confidence category, because at least you are doing something about your lack of confidence and it will work, but it's temporary. or it only works in certain situations. And the reason why is because this type of thinking only focuses on the external sources of confidence. Deriving our self confidence from the world around us is short lived, and improving our behavior and actions is not sustainable solution to our self confidence. So, although Esther spent 12 months in intensive beauty treatments and regimes, she also worked on her inner beauty. And no, it wasn't feeling as though she lacked nothing or already possessed everything she could ever dream of either. She became truly confident when she became comfortable with what she lacked. She was an orphan. Mordecai, her only family, was her mentor and guide. She was a Jewish girl in a time where her life was at risk. But she learned that being confident had nothing to do with being comfortable in what she achieved, but everything to do with being comfortable in what she didn't achieve. So women who are confident in their business are more confident because they are comfortable with failure. They realize that failure is simply part of learning how their market works. It's a reflection of their lack of knowledge, not a reflection of who they are as a person. In the same way, women who are not confident in their social lives are confident because they are comfortable with rejection. They're not afraid of rejection because they're comfortable with not everyone liking them, as long as they express themselves honestly. So women who are confident in their relationships are confident because they're comfortable with getting hurt. They're not afraid to be vulnerable and tell the man they love how they feel, and then establish strong boundaries around those feelings, even if it means being uncomfortable or leaving a bad relationship. And these are the innovative qualities we see in Esther. She wasn't afraid to build confidence through failure. The truth is, her story took a route to the positive through the negative. When we become most comfortable with negative experiences, that is where we reap the most benefits. It's counterintuitive, but it's also true. We often worry that if we become comfortable in our failures, that if we accept failure as an inevitable part of living, that we will become failures. But it doesn't work that way. Comfort in our failures allows us to act without fear, to engage without judgment, to love unconditionally. So Esther kept her past a secret because she longed to save her people. But all that stood before her and the king, the man who had made her his queen, was her abilities, qualities, and judgments. Why do you want to be more confident in your relationship? Ralph Waldo Emerson said, to be true, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. How do you talk to yourself? Brent Brown says it better than anyone. Talk to yourself like you would to someone you love. What conclusion do you draw up about yourself? Dr. Jacinth Mapelyankana outlined this. One's conclusion that you are not good enough is a reflection of their own interpretation of what good enough is. Your own personal concept is what creates your reality. So can I let you in on a secret? Your relationship with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship you will have. And like Esther, who became a courageous woman of influence, it can all be summed up in this quote by Barry Davenport: true beauty is the flame of self-confidence that shines from the inside out. So, will you take this challenge? Mae West suggests we must fall in love with ourselves. I don't like myself. I'm crazy about myself. More than anything, I believe Esther's 12 months of beauty treatments made her realize her God-given beauty, and because of her self-confidence, she became the change maker in saving lives, a nation, and winning the heart of her husband and king. So will you believe this? Said so amply by Byron Katie. Do you want to meet the love of your life? Then look in the mirror. Remember that exercise at the beginning. As Zig Ziglar says, your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. Never let someone's opinion of you become your reality. So choosing to believe in yourself and your God-given calling means, like Oscar Wilde says, to love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. And when you are in a relationship where you know your worth, like Lao Tzu says, being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. So being confident in ourselves gives us the confidence to love our spouse. As Jodi Picoult said, you don't love someone because they're perfect, you love them even though they're not. If we look at the legacy of Esther, beautiful beyond measure, evident from her heart, as women of worth, we have to have confidence in ourselves before anyone else can. And Esther developed courage by being happy in who she was with those around her, and she developed this as she survived difficulties and challenged adversity. As Joyce Meyer says, we can improve our relationships with others by leaps and bounds if we become encouragers instead of critics. Will you choose to create unstoppable confidence like Esther? Because she chose to be decisive and master her emotional state, becoming a bold and fearless woman of perseverance and faith in your God. So what can we learn about being confident in ourselves so that confidence shows up in our relationships like Esther's? I believe she was a model of humility, but still aware of her God-given identity and capable of taking risks and obeying God. She was strong, beautiful, and walked with integrity. And because she was confident in who she was, she refused to be intimidated. She was also secure in her relationship with God, and she trusted Him more than anything, even to the point of risking her very life to approach her husband and the king, uninvited, to convey God's message. Like Esther, we can be confident in the most important relationship with God. What can we accomplish if we act on the words God spoke to us, no matter the risk? Being confident means taking risks. Esther obeyed God. How willing are you to take a risk? Esther walked with God, and she was aware of the power she possessed, and instead of fearing it, she wholeheartedly embraced it. Being confident allows us to embrace God's authority. For much of my life, I did not realize that I was a powerful person. I did not trust myself to make good decisions or know that God would want to use me to serve and help other women. And hear and know His voice and leading, to trust that I heard God's voice correctly. It can be easy to back away in fear, allowing ourselves to be intimidated by what we see other women doing. Maybe we sit back, pray, and wait for God to give us what we dream of, but I believe we have to step out in confidence as an action, and then, like Esther, see God's authority. Being confident in who God says we are is the stage to model that integrity and humility. So Esther was that woman of integrity. She was chosen by 2 kings and she won their hearts because of her obedience, literally changing history and saving thousands of people. But her confidence was not arrogant or proud. She remained humble, devoted to God and her people. She understood that humility is not thinking less of herself, but thinking of herself less. So it's easy to believe that beating ourselves down and saying things like, can I really be confident? I'm not even that important. But we are made in God's image, and true confidence and humility is recognizing our power, worth, and beauty, and understanding our source is God. So in closing, will you be like Esther? Unlock that padlock on courage so that you become self-aware to the power and beauty God has given you. You are made in God's image and are a woman of worth. Don't hide, shrink away, or turn down your sparkle, but embrace your self-confidence. Show up in every single moment as if you are meant to be there. Enjoy the free workbook, which is also included with this, Why Should I Be Self-Confident, which has inspirational journal prompts to help you know your worth. Thank you so much for joining me in this session. Take care and keep building your self-confidence to become bravely beautiful.